Hey, it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month. That means it's time for the Q&A session that we do here in the, Scott, what's the full name of our Facebook group again? I always get it mixed up.
It is the Philmont Trek Talk Prep News and Info page.
Yes, that one. And that was Scott speaking to you. And we welcome him. Oh, and Sal is very echoey.
I'm on the road. I was gonna tell you I'm gonna be late. I'm on the road. I just left my scouts meeting, so I'm gonna log off and let you know when I get home.
We'll hear from you in a few then. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Well, it was nice of him. We got a check in from the road. We got a check in out there from YouTube. And as we typically do on this type of broadcast, what we're going to do is give it a few minutes for people to get the notifications and find their way into the different live streams. I'm seeing people on 2 of the 3 platforms now. So that tells me they're working. Scott, I got to tell you, man, I have been losing sleep the last couple of days because when I looked in the Facebook group, I couldn't find any event listed. And I swore, it's like I created it. I went into StreamYard. That's the tool that we use for this. And I could see where it was scheduled. And I can see that there are now 10 people joined us through the Facebook group, through our Facebook group page. But I swear I couldn't find it anywhere. So on the last one, we talked a little bit about when you log in through Facebook and leave comments in the chat, unless you click something or give it permission to display your name, it will just say like anonymous user or something. And while that is incredibly entertaining, there still isn't one listed. Weird. I can't figure out what it is, but I can see there are 14 people that are watching on that link through there. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. YouTube is not working, it seems. But we have Jeff Wilson checked in through YouTube. So maybe it's good that we're on multiple platforms now because some of them work for some people. Others work for others. 617B. Look at that. What am I? I'm 618. And of course, that's what we were talking about. So we had Darren through Facebook. You see the little F. Whatever Darren did to be able to see his name, if everyone can do that, then we won't see Facebook user and not know who it is. Because I don't know whoever it is.
Yeah, I see Amber on Facebook as well in the comments, so she's figured it out.
Okay, awesome. And is that who's showing up as Facebook user?
I don't see any. Oh, yes, that is showing. She's showing up as, yes, she is showing up as Facebook user.
Yeah, just forgive us as we try to figure out the technology. And I'm trying to get my other laptop up and working so I can monitor Facebook, but it's not cooperating. So again, as I was saying, we always kill a little bit of time here. Pickerington, are you kidding me? I'm from Pataskala. It wasn't Johnstown, dad from Johnstown, mom from Pataskala. So it's the neighborhood of Pickerington for the people who aren't already plugged into, high society in Central Ohio. Dale, all right, good to see you, Dale. Click the Facebook link, and it brought me to YouTube. Well, there you go. All right. Hey, you're here, so it doesn't really matter to me which way you came in. I see people on YouTube. I see people on Facebook. I see people on the other Facebook. There's people coming in from everywhere.
Awesome.
Andy, are you not going to join us tonight, Andy? All right, it's up to you, brother. But I see you out there. All right, Corey. 714. Oh, you know what I was going to say on the anonymous Facebook user here. I'm a 618 and we're going to get there a day early. So I talked to someone else that is also, I think, a 617. Like, hey, we ought to see each other in camp. But chances are, 617s will be heading out by 10 a.m. and we won't roll in until far after 10 a.m. on the 17th. So ships passing in the night. It's not destined to happen.
So Jeff, did you guys decide you're going to have some sort of patch or clothing or bandana or something of that nature to recognize other people on the Trek Talk group?
I haven't decided. When I say I haven't decided, that is basically meaning that we have not collectively decided yet. And that is on the agenda, which is potentially on another screen that you may be able to see, Scott.
I'm thinking a big giant bird call of some sort would really do the trick.
Well, it would certainly have one. Oh, I bet that one's not plugged in. I bet. Oh, now it's coming on. That would have one of the key elements that is important to me, and that is a pretty high level of awkwardness. I think there's great humor in awkwardness. So
yes.
So again, we always just kind of banter and welcome everyone for a few minutes to give everyone time to find the broadcast and show up and introduce themselves. Facebook user, welcome Facebook user from Troy. Let's see, 724K. All right. Oh, they're coming in faster than I can click them. St. Louis. All right. 629. Lots of June treks today. Andy Parrish teasing us with a promise of his presence on the broadcast. We look forward. I have YouTube working on my TV and commenting on Facebook. All right, winner, chicken dinner. Austin, Welcome Center co-manager. That's right, Larry's going to be there all summer and going to get to meet everyone. I think that's my other computer ringing. Well, that's 10 feet away. I can't get all the way over there. Whoever's calling, I'm not going to answer. I apologize to the world. All right, 619F.
I think that was one of our panelists, Melissa, that was joining us. She's trying to connect through Messenger for some reason.
Oh, I'm declining that.
Yeah.
Melissa, if you're watching, go to the Philmont Gear Wizards chat group where we were sending messages earlier. And in there, you will find a link if you scroll up a little bit above the picture. Let's see, where is it? It's above the picture of me driving the wrestling team to a match this evening. Go up above that, you'll see the link to StreamYard. That is what you click to join us on the broadcast. All right, we get back to the right screen here. Where were we? More June treks. We got lots of June treks in here. And that makes sense because they're going to be hitting the trail first. So presumably they would have more urgent questions. John Westmoreland. All right, now we're getting into some July stuff. Another June. Pony Express Council. All right. Norfolk. All right. You know, I always struggle with how to pronounce that properly and not sound like I'm cussing at people. But apparently the locals have a way to do it that you're not actually being rude, but just saying the name. I'm not gonna attempt it. All right, Hickson, Tennessee. Nice. All right, we got a lot of people here. We're about 8.5 minutes in. As you can see, Sal is going to join us when he gets back to the house. Oh, Sal is back at the house, right on cue. I'm
back in the house.
There we go. All right. Mr. Sal Porto, welcome to the program.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have, and then we have that awkward looking guy down below Scott, who we refer to as Scott's mic. That is, honestly, that is a very ingenuitive Scout-like workaround to a technical difficulty that wouldn't allow his voice to come through on the regular video broadcast. I thought he wanted me to answer. Like, hello. Okay. So maybe Melissa will join us soon. We have Daryl, who I think, what was he at a round table or something? He was going to join us when he could. And Daryl has also been designated as our official point of contact by Shelley, the director of operations at Philmont Scout Ranch. She said, oh, yes, I designate Daryl to speak on behalf of the ranch, or some such statement. I think I probably overblew the authority she gave him to speak on behalf of Philmont. But regardless, Daryl was asked if he could represent Philmont in our discussions here. So let me see if I can do a little screen magic here. I'm moving things that you can't see. So I'm just going to make some awkward noises while I'm doing it. And then I'll move this one over here so I can see multiple things on the screen at the same time. Excellent. So we have a series of live discussions that we have run through the Philmont Trek Talk Prep News and Info group on Facebook. This is what, the third or fourth such live broadcast where we have fourth. Look at that. We're big time now. Fourth. That's a third of a year. Man. Whoever would have thought it would have lasted that long? So in prior discussions, we've talked about gear and we've talked about backcountry campsites and other things. This time we had kind of a broader range of topics that we could cover because we are getting closer to the time that crews will start hitting the trail. We do these broadcasts on 8:00 p.m. Eastern time on the first Tuesday of each month. By the next first Tuesday of next month, there will be crews hitting the trail at Philmont already. So this is our last chance to do kind of a wide open Q&A, but we have agenda items first. So here's how this is going to work. We are going to go through our agenda and talk about a few things. So let me pull the agenda up on the other screen here for me. And then let's see, I'm going to tease you on what we're going to talk about, right? We'll give some intro here to this broadcast, which we're doing. And then we're going to talk about what Philmont is still hiring for, different positions that they need people for this summer. For this summer, they still have openings, believe it or not. We're going to get into what Scott brought up earlier, how to ID other group members at Philmont, either on the trail or in base camp. Because, we have a bit of a dilemma that we got a really cool group of people. And we like to be able to identify them and say hi and, do a high five of some sort, whether virtual or, depending on how bold people are, in base camp or on the trail, whatever. We need to be able to identify people. Seeing the car. Does Jeff shred? No, Jeff is learning how to do basic chord transitions right now, but he thought that the guitars with a fancy new LED wall wash light would make a neat looking backdrop. So, yeah. Maybe this time next year, Jeff may shred. We shall see. 618A. Wait a second. I'm in 618A. There's something fishy going on here. Or perhaps I'm not the only person in 618A.
That is Brian Reese.
Yes, it is. Brian is the big cheese in charge. At this point, we are about to transition and hand the reins over to the crew leader. But up till this point, Brian has been keeping us steered in the right direction. Another mid-June arrival here. Excellent. Okay, so other things we're going to talk about. We have an update on COVID vaccine and negative test requirements that we're going to talk about. Daryl helped coordinate a wealth of information that came in this morning on what's open in Cimarron. So Philmont is like 4 miles outside of the town of Cimarron. That little town has been devastated the last couple years with treks canceled out on the ranch, and a lot of the income these small businesses count on not coming in because people didn't come to go to Philmont. So we have a list and a link I'll share with you to where to find all the information on what's open and what you can do and all that stuff. When we get done with all that, we're going to go to questions from the audience. So if you have questions, Sal and Scott have been assigned to monitor the comments. Sal has got YouTube, Scott has got Facebook. You're to keep track of those comments. If questions come in, we're going to hold them till the end, and then we're going to go through them and figure it out. And is that our other panelists trying to? I don't have a way to answer.
I got it. I got it.
Okay, excellent. Good. All right. And what Sal's working on is we've had a request to have some female crew leader representation on these discussions. And Melissa is struggling with the chicken scratch directions I sent over on how to log in. So hopefully
I'm going to call her directly.
Okay, good. So hopefully we can get that sorted out and get her in here. Let's see. I think you go here to allow StreamYard to access your name for the comments. Yes, I believe that's correct. Fred, thank you so much. That will be helpful and allow us to see who is commenting a little easier. There we go. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. 15 minutes in, we're going to finally dive in and start talking about our first topic. So let me get the housekeeping out of the way real quick. We have Sal Porto here. We've introduced Scott O'Mary up in the top and bottom right corners. I'm Jeff. I'll be your host for the evening. We are all scout leaders. You can go read the bios on in the comments. Not comments, in the description of the video on whatever platform you're on. If you want to see the bios for each of the people involved, we're all scout leaders. We're both all Philmont trekkers, all that stuff. Purpose of the broadcast, we are going to discuss a wide range of topics about Philmont on this one. This is a less targeted than prior ones. We already covered what's on the agenda. Let's see. In theory, after this is over, I will condense this and post it up on Gear Report with the others, which reminds me, I don't think I ever published the last one, so I need to get that one published soon. So you'll be able to find it. But you will also be able to find this in the videos on the Facebook group or on the Gear Report channel in the video archive if you want to watch it again, or forward the link to someone. While we're talking about that, if there's anyone in your crews, whether it's adults or scouts, that you would like to participate in this, please use the link and share buttons to send something to them so they can join us, make this interactive discussion that much better. If you don't mind, whatever platform you're on, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. That'll send more notifications out so more people can find us and participate in the discussion, make it that much more valuable for everyone. All right, the mechanics of this broadcast are we're going to field some questions and talk about them, and then we'll pass it around the room a little bit, and then maybe have a little interaction from folks out in the comments as well. Keep in mind, what we're calling Philmont for this discussion is a series of backcountry experiences and programs interrupted by some hiking in the New Mexico mountains. All right, so first topic of discussion after we welcome Andy Parrish of Andy Parrish Outdoors.
Howdy, y'all.
Team chair. I knew someone was going to
Team
start that. All right.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay, so Philmont is still hiring for this summer. They have positions in activities, commissary, guest services, maintenance, the Tooth to Time trainers, and the PTC, the Philmont Training Center. Plus, I am told that it is very common that they have withdrawals throughout the season, natural attrition as things come up and, people have family things, they have to run home, whatever. They're going to have openings that come up throughout the season as well. So what we were asked by our main contact there at Philmont was please spread the word. If you know anyone who may be interested, maybe perhaps someone who's trekked before, or a scout leader who has the summer off, or whatever, someone who might like to be a part of the Philmont team, please go apply now. They could use your help. Okay. Andy, you going to sign up?
Probably not. I love spending time there, but I'm heading the other direction. I'll be out at Bechtel this summer. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, have fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Haven't been there before, so looking forward to that.
Beautiful place. So, Jeff, I have a question on the Philmont jobs.
Sure.
So if a lot of people may be like me, and I'm a remote employee, not by choice due to COVID these days, and I'm working, 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon on my day job, as long as I have a good Wi-Fi connection. I'm curious, would it be possible for me to work remotely from Philmont and then do a little staffing in the evening or something like that?
Yeah.
Or I'm asking for a friend. How about that?
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. No one knows who you work for anyway, as far as you know. So, all the job details, I think we probably have the official answer here, that you can find all the parameters of the jobs at the site that Corey shared with us. I have no idea what the real answer is. I could make something up for you that may be entertaining. I don't think it would be helpful.
Yeah.
But I would highly encourage anyone who has an interest, and who knows, there may be something you can do in that type of situation where either you're logging in remotely to do something in the afternoon, or you're at the ranch working on an internet connection, hiding somewhere, and then when you get off your day job, you come out and do Philmont stuff. Either one of those, who knows? Maybe there's a way to make it work if they, especially if you bring something special to the table, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. Great question, though. Okay, so please spread the word about Philmont needing to hire those positions. Let's see. All right, now the big discussion: how to identify other group members at Philmont. So it's on the trail in base camp, and I don't know. I'm open to ideas. What do you guys think?
Well, since I'm not going to be there at all, I don't have any plans. I vote for something that is as embarrassing as possible for the members that show up at camp. Maybe face paint a la Braveheart or something like that.
Okay, well, that's fair, I suppose. I think Melissa is trying to join us there. There we go. Welcome to the program. It's good to see you.
And thank you.
All right. So by special request, we have had we have had a plethora, a multitude of the finer persuasion ask for a female voice on the panel, and I have trouble convincing women to do anything with me. So Sal had to step in and invite Melissa, and we appreciate that. Thank you. All right, we've had a vote for tattoos. I don't know. I'm not as bold as Scott. I'm not sure I'm ready to do that.
How about Philmont brands? Everybody get a Philmont brand on their shoulder.
Okay, I'm in. Good. Let's do that. I'm sure it's completely against the rules, but I don't care. I'm sticking with tie-dye Crocs. That could be good. Pick a color or sign. I think you get lots of ideas, and most will go with what's decided. Yeah. I think you're right. I'll tell you what I'm leaning towards, since it's a Facebook group and Facebook is generally blue. Someone had suggested a little blue ribbon taped to a shoulder strap or pinned to a shoulder strap, like up where it's not in the way of anything and kind of visible. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. If a better idea doesn't come up before this is over, then I think that's probably what we're going to go with. ID each other by a rubber ducky strapped to the pack. See, that's what I'm saying. Now we got another good idea, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that. Oh, and Dale's jumping the gun here.
I would suggest, in the spirit of having things for multiple purposes, maybe instead of a blue ribbon, maybe a blue stretch of paracord or something like that. If you had to, you could press it into service. Okay.
All right. Blue zinc oxide on the nose. Okay. Yeah, like I'm probably not going to do that one. I'm just being honest. Oh, come on, Andy. That's wrong.
Who wrote that?
I don't know. Your kids got to the keyboard again, apparently.
I was supposed to say Facebook user. No,
you're right. All right. So we had a little touch on new arrival procedures and whatnot in Dale's comment there. So let's talk about that. I'm going to read to you. I wonder if that is. I think that's too much to put on the screen. I'm just going to try to read it. There will be COVID arrival procedure. By the way, this is from Shelley, the director of operations at Philmont Scout Ranch. There will be COVID arrival procedures, a screening and proof of vaccination or test, and each crew will move through base camp as a bubble except perhaps in the store, which will be based on occupancy and 6 feet apart. Okay, so that already speaks to Dale's comment about, will you be required to stay in your tent, or will you be able to wander around? It sounds like it may be some limited wandering as a crew together. Let's see. Continuing, food will be picked up in the dining hall, and each crew will go back to their shelters to eat. And those would be the shelters that are between the rows of tents in Tent City for inbound and outbound crews. Let's see. We just received the state guidelines for overnight camp this past week, so all have been incorporating by department and piece by piece. Oh, all right. See, I keep interjecting things. This is me interjecting. This part broke my heart, okay? There will not be the traditional campfires, but will be a let me try that again. Will not be the traditional campfires, but will be handled by the ranger. And that is the extent of the note from Shelley talking about those. So what did we get there? Limited contact, crews moving around in bubbles in base camp, not eating in the dining hall, taking your stuff back to your shelters.
No opening campfire.
Or closing campfire.
Or closing campfire.
That's tough.
Mountain.
So curious, if they're not doing the campfires, are they also not doing the religious services at 7 p.m. every night?
No idea. Good question.
No idea. No.
Haven't heard yet.
I guess those are a little smaller groups, but they're still fairly large gatherings still. Yeah. And it has been a requirement for your duty to God requirements.
Right. Yeah, good question. That's something that if we can put that on the list to follow up with later, if you want to take a note of that, send it to me. Or you, Scott, you're on that email chain with Shelley if you want to send that to her on behalf of all of us.
Sure.
Yep. That's called delegation, folks. That's not passing the buck. That is delegation. Jenny, we can't be friends if you're going to talk bad about my Crocs, okay? All right? Well, who am I kidding? We can still be friends, but please be nice. I like my Crocs. Is this being recorded? Well, yes, it is. You will be able to find this to share it around to the world on the Gear Report, Gear-Report.com YouTube channel, or on the Philmont group, the Philmont Trek group Facebook page in the video section. It'll be available both those places. Gear Report, obviously, being the sponsor of the group and the company that I run, coincidentally. Yes, it is recorded. This is gold. We wouldn't let this go to waste. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else on the panel have comments about the crew arrival procedures before we move on to the COVID vaccine discussion? Going once, okay, sold. COVID vaccine or negative test requirement. I'm going to read this one again. And hopefully this will be about the last of the things where it's just me talking and get some more discussion going on. But unfortunately, we got to get through this rote stuff, right? I'm going to start reading. To ensure that anyone who is positive and contagious for the COVID-19 virus stays at home and they do not have close contact with other cohort crew members during travel, we are requiring either a copy of a vaccination card completed 14 days or more prior to arrival at Philmont, or documented proof of a negative test within 3 to 5 days, but no more than 7 days upon arrival. While this does not guarantee that participants will not contract COVID-19 during travel, it does help crew leaders keep positive cases out of their cohort before travel and gives individual participants an added layer of protection and confidence as they isolate and use travel safe practices before arriving at Philmont. An FAQ document will be posted as part of our next update. That's Philmont saying their next update, by the way, for additional details about testing and documentation. You can monitor Philmont's COVID procedures as they are updated at, and there is a link there that, let me see if I can copy that link and make it a banner. Because, you know, you would think I would have made that link a banner before the broadcast. Oh, and I've used all my banners, so I have to delete one first and now create one. How did I use 50 banners already? There we go. If you would like more information on the PhilmontScoutRanch.org website, they have the COVID-19 mitigation page where you can get that. Anyone have any discussion points that you'd like to talk about here? Buying hiking shoes. Good. All right. So let's see. Pre-screening. If vaccinated and they answer yes to exposed question, will that impact their ability to attend? I have no idea. Yeah. At this point, I am. We are serving as a conduit of information to be sure that the info that Philmont is attempting to get out to everyone is getting out to everyone. So that's what we're doing here. I don't have any additional information on how a positive exposure for someone who's already vaccinated would be handled. I think based on just the text of what was sent out to everyone that I read, that if you've been vaccinated, it doesn't matter if you've been exposed. That's the way I read that. But I am not a physician on the staff at Philmont and did not stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Okay. Anything else before we move on off of this one? Nothing? All right. On we go. Onward and upward. What is open in Cimarron? All right. So for all the folks on the panel who have been out there, what is your favorite destination in town? Before the trek, after the trek, hopefully not during, because that means you got pulled off the trail, but whatever. We can go clockwise.
Is there a clockwise here? I don't know the clock. Yeah. I'll go first since I'm chatting. Yes. So I guess it depends at what point in the trip I'm in. If I'm coming off the trail, I want a big old greasy hamburger from Creamies.
There you go.
With some hatch chilies on top, even better.
That sounds like a solid choice.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to skip Scott's mic and go to
team chair. We were looking forward to get a couple huge pies and sit down and have some pizza after getting off trail. So that was number one on the boys list. So we just went into town, ordered some pizzas, had those ready to go, and then just spent some time kind of walking around. It's a very easy walk.
Yeah.
Once you're in town, just to kind of walk through, see some of the shops. We went through a couple just to kind of get the experience, and I think everybody had a good time. Just spending part of an afternoon hanging out in town.
Got it, Melissa.
I've never been to town. We went to that. We went to that restaurant with the bullet hole in the ceiling.
The St. James Hotel.
St. James.
Yeah,
the historic St. James.
The haunted St. James.
It's that one too. Okay, Sal.
I know somebody just put on a Facebook. You said creamy is horrible. After eating trail food for 10 days, creamy is not horrible. Creamy is actually that's like a gourmet meal after 10 days on a trail.
I was debating putting that one up on the screen or not. We want to be nice. Right?
But maybe beforehand it might be terrible. Creamies is good for afterwards, and I've been to St. James before, which is also good. And I've done pizza before. So this year we're actually doing pizza before. I don't think we're doing anything afterwards. I think we're just doing pizza before.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a tip for people who want to do pizza. If you show up unannounced, you're probably going to wait. And if you go right before sundown, it's going to get cooler than you expect. Ask me how I know this. Much colder potentially. So it is outdoor dining if you go to the pizza place. So what I am told is that they really appreciate it if you call ahead and place your order, especially if you're like Sal, who has 6 or 7 crews that he is in charge of and looking to get lots and lots of pizza. Don't just show up. All right. Coordinate this. I'm sure all of the establishments in town, if you're bringing more than just a couple people, would very much appreciate you reaching out to them and coordinating before you just show up. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, TJ's here. Well, there goes the meeting. All right. I mean, good to see you, TJ. All right, so let me share the screen here. Where is it? There it is.
While you're pulling that up, another tip about the St. James is at the beginning of your trip, before you go, if you go and place a pie order at the St. James, they'll have it ready for you when you come off the trail. I'm not talking about pizza. I'm talking about sweet pies. And for you crew advisors out there, it was kind of a nice treat to bring out a couple of pies and bring it back to Philmont, to the Scoutmaster's Lounge, to kind of thank our adult leaders with a nice cherry pie.
That's a pretty snazzy idea. So I will share I shared the link in the Facebook group earlier today. I'll try to remember to put it in the comments here at some point. This is a document that I created today with the help of our very own Daryl Tadson from the group. Daryl has been to Philmont more times than the rest of us all here put together, and has worked in the Welcome Center and done various other things on staff at Philmont for various summers, and will again this summer. He was kind enough to reach out to some folks in Cimarron to say, hey, what's open? What's the contact information, and hours, and because some of those businesses didn't survive being closed the last couple, 2 out of the last 3 summers. Having Philmont closed the last 2 or 3 summers. So Daryl acquired that information. He worked with Melissa at Hiker's Coffee Company, which is the old art gallery and ice cream shop in downtown Cimarron. The two of them pulled together this list and got it over to me. I spent a few hours this morning looking up addresses and linking in addresses and phone numbers. So if you are out there at the ranch and looking to do something, you can pull up this one page and have everything you need there to find where you may want to go and what you may want to do and how to get a hold of the people and get all your questions answered and all that. So again, really just trying to help the crews out to figure out what options you have, as well as help the town out, get a little word out for the businesses that are trying to stay alive with limited traffic the past couple years. So we have state parks, we have museums, long list of museums. We have lots of shopping, if you're into that kind of thing. Up above, we have restaurants, and then we have lodging, which can be, like the hotel at the St. James, or it can be RV parks or the inn. Lots of different options there. So hopefully that is going to be useful to some of the crew advisors trying to figure out what do we want to do when we take our crews out there. Okay, let me stop that screen and get us back to all the people. There we go. All right, everyone is back. So on our agenda, that gets us all the way down through, we're left with questions from the audience. Excellent. So have we had some good questions come in?
Yeah, we got 2 so far.
Yeah.
All right, does anyone want to talk about this one here from the Welcome Center? Do we need anything other than a crew roster when we check in?
Well, with the new COVID, from what I understand, they're going to need the COVID paperwork, either the vaccine report or the shot, and also the permission, the other, what do they want to call it? The Philmont Center, it's on their website about all the COVID stuff. I would have all that stuff ready when you go to the Welcome Center. I think that's going to be all you need unless they change it. I mean, really, for the Welcome Center, it's just a roster and the COVID stuff. And then from what I understand, Philmont will be doing temperature checks before you get off the bus or get out of the car before you go into the Welcome Center. And then once you get there, you'll start staying in your cohort group.
Okay, good to know.
I'm trying to think what they call them now. The consent and code of conduct. That's what they call it. It's on the Philmont mitigation page. It's a Philmont consent form and a Philmont code of honor. Code of conduct, excuse me.
Okay.
I would say you have to have all that filled out. Me personally, I'm just going to put that with the COVID vaccine report or negative test result and staple all that to the health form and have everything on one big package.
Good. So for a general outline of what happens when you get to base camp, if you go to Gear Report and search for pre-trek, or just scroll through the Philmont section under camping Philmont, you will find this pre-trek guide that was filmed and written before all of the COVID craziness happened. Most of those things are still going to happen. They may just happen in a slightly different way. So you can still prepare your crews for things like, yes, you're still going to have your ranger pull all your stuff out, make sure your crew has everything, like a shakedown. It may not look like this, or it may, I don't know. You may go and pick up your stuff the way it's pictured in the video, or they may bring it to you. We don't know. You're still going to go through all the steps. It just may be it may feel a little different. So that is available to you if it's going to be helpful. All right.
Jeff Wilson has one about pills in the original bottle. I would say yes, because they want to see the prescriptions to make sure that they belong to you. I know with the EpiPens that I carry, I have to have I take the box with me, and they see it, then I can take them out of the box. So I would say take your pills in the bottles, and then take them out of the bottles if you want to take them on the trail.
That's what I was just told. We had a shakedown hike this past weekend, and Brian, our senior crew advisor, said he had been told everyone has to leave all of your medication in the bottles, even over-the-counter stuff, because I do what my friends refer to as my bag of Fruity Pebbles, right? It's got my vitamin I, the ibuprofen, and my allergy pills and the glucosamine, and it's got a whole bunch of different stuff in there. I just dump it all in one Ziploc bag, and I think that would kind of drive them nuts. They want to see everything in its original container, and then once they've seen it all and said, okay, you're good, if you want to dump it all in one bag, you're golden. But not until then, is my understanding.
Correct.
Okay. What is the process for going off route? Thinking of going off ranch if we get turned around. Okay. I think this is kind of a mixed one. I was going to say, hey, Scott, you've been up in the Via area where you're going off trail quite a bit. I'm not sure that's where this is going. Off route, I think if you get redirected, if you're on 1217 or what's the other one? Is it like 1230 or something? There are only two treks that transit through North and South Country and go through the burn slash. So if you're going through there, you have to be there at 7 a.m. on your transit day, and then they will say, yes, you're going through, or sorry, we're redirecting you. And then they will tell you where to go. So it's not that you go off route. It's that they assign you a new route. You don't have an optional, well, okay, we can't go there. Where do we want to go? And I apologize if I misread the question, but resupply, they're going to direct you to the appropriate supply point moving forward. Anyone else want to talk about that one?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm trying to find it real quick off the top of my head.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree with your interpretation. They're going to have it all lined out.
Yeah, they will. Okay, here you go. What was he? 1217?
Yeah.
Okay, 1217. If Plan A is the regular route, Plan B, you would go. Instead of going to Simracita, you go to Sawmill, and then Lambert's and Schaefer's Pass, and then hike in through the Tooth. Plan C, you go to Simracita, then you go to Upper Dean, Rich Cabins, and Poneal. Plan D, Simracita, New Dean, Plublano, Rich Cabins, and Poneal. It's all in the Trek book, page number 12. Page number 12 in the Trek book.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to give a warning here that Michelle has asked a question. for Melissa. We're going to come back to you in that a minute. So this is your warning that we're going to put you on the hot seat here in a second. All right. We're still talking about this other stuff, though. So clarification, but can we go off route? Take a road less traveled. Andy, you want to handle this one? Apparently he
doesn't
does,
want
but we can't hear him.
How about now?
Oh,
Yes.
there he is.
I would say that you typically have your mapping, your destinations for each day. So there may be half a dozen ways to get there. So sitting down the night before and mapping out what you plan on doing the next day with crew leadership is what we did. So we would get into different situations where maybe we would decide on trail that we wanted to do something different, but we pretty much knew that morning which of the 3 or 4 routes we were going to do that day. Some are going to be longer, some are going to be shorter. Sometimes there might be other things to see that we wanted to stop in and check out.
So Andy, I have a follow-up question for you on that point as well. So when we were up in the Valle, we were schwacking. There's really no trails. But we didn't do any schwacking once we were on Philmont property itself. I don't know if Philmont encourages that or discourages that.
Well, we wouldn't go off trail. There would just be multiple different trails because it's kind of a web of trails. So as we went towards the Valle, we could, we knew at the end of each day we wanted to be at a specific point for camp, but there might be, different ways to get to that exact point following established trails. So we would just pick this one's, 3 miles to the next junction. The other one's 4.5, but it takes us past another site or location. Do we want to look at doing that? Did we have program? Those kind of factors came into play.
I can see you.
Yeah, I would say that that if the question was, can you just kind of go off trail and bushwhack? No, you can't. Like if you're going point to point and you're not up in the Valle where you're specifically told to stay off a trail, then you are expected to stay on the trail. You may have 4 or 5 trails you can choose from to get from point A to point B, but you are expected to stay on the trail if there's a trail there and you're on Philmont property. Does everyone agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. All right. More information here on alternate routes. Corey is really hooking us up with links here tonight, so thank you. We appreciate that. All right. That'll be in the comments. Everyone wants it. All right.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Darrell here. Finally got in here.
Yeah.
Back to the previous question on hiking through the burn area.
Yes.
You will be escorted by a staff person with radio, so the chances of getting off trail are pretty minimal.
Right. Yep. Good.
Thank you.
And I want to come back to you, Daryl, in a minute. We had Melissa queued up by popular demand. We had some questions for you, Melissa. So let me go back and find that one.
Got to be better looking than us.
And I got to tell you, you're going to be excited because look at that. The hair stood up my arms. I get so excited when a plan comes together. We hit the trail Saturday morning, and I was telling Michelle, and we got 2 crews, and the other crew, my crew has no females. The other crew has 3 females. All 3 of them were just giddy, like, oh my, you're actually going to have a woman there to talk about, going on the trail at Philmont as a woman. And so, your presence here is very much anticipated. So not to set the bar too high or anything, but
That's all right.
wow us.
It is. I'm out of my element in Florida, so.
Yeah. So, so having spent time on the trail at Philmont before, was there anything that you weren't prepared for that you wish, some other woman would have said, hey, before you go out there, here's something that's going to be useful?
No, I pretty much did some heavy research before I went out there, and I'm probably going with the same setup I have that I had before. I'm going with again this time.
Okay, good. So are there any things that you do different for Philmont, than you would do elsewhere? Let me I'm trying to mute Sal here. There we go.
Well, I mean, females can be tricky for females. If we're talking about young girls, you got to pack out your trash, and like our little food boxes, you got to condense everything and bring it to the drop off at the next camp. There's trash you can drop off at a staff camp, which you'll always be running into, typically daily, so you're not carrying stuff around that you don't want to be carrying around. Also, using the restroom, we bring you guys too. You bring baby wipes and everything to clean yourselves up, like a shower, bath, whatever. When you're out and about, girls are a little more specific for hypoallergenic stuff and pH balanced. And I actually have, I don't know if you can see this.
Swipes.
Swipes. So they're cucumber scent, but they're not really scented at all. They're real faint. And the June bug just flew out of it. So, and then I use Gold Bond powder. Okay. You guys use Gold Bond powder, right?
Sure. So how about something that I saw some of the ladies in our crew talking about was this amazing new discovery of a device that lets women basically, I believe she described it as, I can pee like a dude.
Yeah, I researched that heavily as well, because I have a friend that went to Kilimanjaro, and there's nowhere to. There's no tree.
Right.
Oh, there's no trees to hide behind.
Sure.
And so you're going in your tent, so that's a little different. But the one I recommend for the woods and hiking about is the P style. It's on Amazon, and it's just the letter P style, and you got to practice in the shower.
All right.
And where it shines is if you're at a public event in the porta potties, because those things are nasty.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's where it's brilliant.
Yeah, I just got that for my daughter, who is working at Scout Camp this summer at the waterfront, where all they have is a porta potty. So hopefully she will be a fan of that as well. But it seems like a brilliant solution to maintain a bit of privacy and modesty on the trail when there aren't walls.
Yeah, it's ease, and you don't have to take your pack off.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good tips. If anyone has, if any females have any additional questions,
Michelle, this is Daryl. I've had a question from somebody who is not in the contingent I'm going in, and they've heard, and I've looked it up, something called a Kula cloth. Have you had any experience with that, or want to share anything on that? I believe it's a cloth for cleaning up after.
Yeah, it is. That's another route to go. Because it's really small, and the sun will, like, the UV rays will sanitize it. So that's
it's got
thought.
some like antimicrobial, anti-germ type treatment in it as well, right?
I think so. In that case, I wear ex officio. So ex officio, or I haven't splurged on smart wool, but I wear ex officio undergarments.
Okay, and that's something I've seen a lot. So, and it gets a little weird sometimes when whenever women pop up in the group and start talking about women specific things, I'll kind of interject, hey, let's document this and share it in an article so that all the women can find all these great tips. And then they get quiet. Like, oh no, there's a guy here. We can't talk anymore. But my goal really, I just want to put a resource out there so that when ladies are going out on the trail, they can get all the information they need. So if you think of anything else, any ladies, if you have any other thoughts or comments like that, please share them. If you don't want to do it publicly, send it to me privately. We'll put it up there as an anonymous tip. We'll put a female, backpacking at Philmont article together with all the real information, because you don't need some dude like me trying to tell you what you need to do, but I can facilitate pulling all the information together from the real experts to so that it can be shared and everyone can have their best trip out there on the trail. So,
Hey, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
It may be about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I noticed somebody posted something on the site that there was a strictly female talk, like chat, like we're doing here, that you needed to, request to join, and it was strictly limited, private to females.
Right. I've heard of that. I don't know what it is. Does anyone know what it is?
I can do a search.
I believe I saw it, on the messenger here. And
Okay.
it's probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, and somebody put it out there, said this is a private one, any female you're willing to join, and so forth.
Boom. There we go. You just had to bring
Wow.
it up, and Shannon shared. So, ladies,
There it is. Yep.
I'm not in the group, so I can't assess whether it's good or not, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I would certainly encourage you to go check it out. And let's see, they had it last night. It was very helpful. There you go. All right. Excellent. So there's plenty of information out there. Any other questions that have come in that we need to address?
I think there was a question earlier about if Philmont provides transportation for folks without
Yes.
vehicles that want to go into town.
I'll jump in on this one.
I'm not sure where we're getting the echo. But go ahead, Daryl.
Okay, part of the reason of being late is I was chatting with one of the staff members out at Philmont and asking some of these questions. As far as a shuttle bus transportation to and from town, right now, and I'm actually going to probably be wearing about 3 hats tonight. As a staff member for this summer at Philmont, a part of this group, and also a contingent leader. Right now, the thinking at Philmont is that transportation will be provided to Cimarron for returning crews only. Not crews on the front end, because they have not been, shall we say, in process, tested, etc. And crews coming off the trail will have had the time to be together as a group and model up with the COVID requirements a lot better of being a cohort and safe with each other. So that's kind of the thinking right now. More will probably be published on it later, but right now it is appearing that the Cimarron shuttle, if you want to call it that, will be for homebound crews only.
Okay, good to know.
And when you got a chance, or wherever in here, I got a few other things from those people that they'd like expressed.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone has got some background noise going on here. If we can figure out who it is and maybe mute that, that'd be good. But go ahead, Daryl. What else you have?
Okay. Cimarron shuttle, gloves for The cons project, absolutely. Each person should bring their own. Those can be used for rock climbing and rappelling, spar pole climbing, can you say it?
Okay.
Wherever gloves are required or appropriate, you need to bring your own. We're not gonna.
Do they have to be leather palmed gloves?
I would say yes, only to the point that they want them to be substantial to stand up to, a cons project, ropes, rappelling, etc. I mean, a brown pair of jersey garden gloves, I don't think are going to cut it.
Got it.
Leather palmed or pigskin or all leather, but something that's going to, that you do, doing work around the house.
Gotcha. Okay.
COVID testing and vaccination. As you know, they're saying now you need to be vaccinated 14 days in advance of arrival, and a negative COVID test no more than 7 days prior to arrival.
Right.
I asked the question, okay, I'm just theoretically saying our crew is leaving on Friday. On Wednesday, I went and got a test, and it was positive. I don't have a chance to get a retest. There's the possibility of a false negative. So I come up positive. You tell me I can't go. Will I get a refund?
Right.
And they said, yes, you would. File documentation, just like any other medical refund. At this point, eating. Everybody's interested in eating. The discussion is ongoing, but it's probably going to end up where meals will be served in the cafeteria. Anything above yellow and above, meals will be served and picked up in the cafeteria. And most likely, you will be asked to return to your tent site area to eat.
Okay.
No, and there's still some discussion on that, but that's kind of the way it is right now. That's kind of a shame because they built 2 new outdoor pavilions just for, this eating issue.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's see, anything else in this? Oh, there's a note out there now. There's 3 items that they want read and signed: pre-screening, consent, and code of conduct. And they want those filled out, completed, and signed, and they will collect them upon arrival.
Okay. They want paper copies.
They want paper copies. Oh,
Okay.
and back to vaccination or COVID testing. Paper documentation would be preferred. However, if you did a test and they, I'm just going to say Walgreens said we will email you, if you can bring up your email so that Philmont can read your email on your cell phone, they would accept that.
Okay.
Okay, campfires. As we who've been there before know the campfires, probably there will be no opening campfire. The interpretation of the ranch and its history and the history of the Southwest will be imparted to the crew through the ranger and their ranger training in the first couple of days. The closing campfire will probably happen. It'll probably be shorter than what we remember, because They will probably have to do 2 or 3 of them to keep the size of the crowd down, to keep within whatever the COVID guidelines are at that time. 100, 150 together, you probably won't see 450 people sitting in the room.
That's an improvement from what we talked about before you joined us.
Right.
I was reading back some notes from Shelley, and it looked like no campfires at all. So that's a move in the right direction there. If we at least get to have some closing campfires.
And that's exactly the person I was talking to, as you saw in the email before, to kind of limit what the Philmont staff has got to do, because they're running 20 hours a day out there trying to keep up with this thing and get it squared away for all of us. Early arrival crews. There was thinking and talk up as recently as a week ago, but it's changed. They were thinking that the early arrival crews would spend their first night over at PTC and then be relocated. That appears very strongly to be changing, that they will be able to accommodated at CHQ in base camp.
Was that to segregate so that no inbound crews got contaminated by someone who'd been there a while? Or?
I don't understand your question, Jeff.
I'm not sure I do either, so never mind.
No, but if you arrive a day early, like I know your crew and my crew, you will be accommodated at base camp at camping headquarters, as opposed to having to spend one night at PTC and then move over. Philmont is acquired or showing up in the next few days 100 additional tents. So they're going to be expanding the capacity of base camp, both homebound and trailbound.
Gotcha. Okay.
Trailbound crews will be strongly encouraged to vacate their tents in the 8:30 to 9 o'clock hour in the morning, because they have to fumigate, whatever you want to call it. They have to, sanitize those tents before the next crew comes in. And crews arriving at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, they're gonna be looking for tents to go to, and the welcome center, is right in the middle of that, and they're going to be pushing real hard to get those tents vacated so they can sanitize them for the next crew.
Right.
So be prepared to move on in a timely manner. The train shuttle, I think there was a question earlier today. Somebody talked about spending the one night at the Whittington Center as opposed to going to Philmont for an early arrival. The bus, probably the Philmont shuttle, probably will not drop them at the Whittington Center and come back and pick them up the next day. Or if they want to call and make specific arrangements with Steve Nelson, they can do that, but there will probably be additional charges.
Okay, good. I think that your background folks there are getting just loud enough. We're having trouble detecting you from them. So maybe we can find them a different room, or we'll have to move on.
Hang on a second.
I'm sure they had no idea that they're being broadcast to the internet.
Well, we have our roundtable at Knights of Columbus Hall, and I've moved into a corner. So, anyways, tentage, trail tentage, base camp tentage. It will be two people per tent, strictly adhering to YPT, no parent and child. They're gonna go for the 2-man tent policy. Trail tents, they will issue only an additional tent when required. If you have 3 adults, you will get 2 tents. If you have 7 youth in the under 18 range, it'll be 2 Pearson per tent and 1 more for that single person. They're not going to give a crew of 12 people 12 tents, just because you want to sleep singular.
Right.
They just don't have that capacity. And if that is the direction that your crew is wanting to go, you should be prepared to bring your own tents.
Okay, good.
Uh,
I think we've done a good job on this broadcast of having a lot of things that people were less eager to hear and
Right.
stretching out and making people wait for all the good stuff when Daryl got here. So thank you for, I know this was not the most convenient when you had your roundtable going on, but we really appreciate it. You had a lot of great things to share with us.
that and got the list of things to do in Cimarron.
Yeah. And
So
we
that's-
talked about
that's pretty
that,
much-
got that published. So thank you for your help in that as well. That was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's, Philmont, absolutely, absolutely wants to make the season happen, but they got to do it safe. The last thing they need, is an outbreak and have to shut it down mid-season. Oh, I also heard, should there be quarantine required? Those of us who have been there before, as you approach the ranch from Cimarron, the quarantine location will be the Polo barn area, which is like 3/4 of a mile from base camp. I mean, you're really going to be quarantined.
Right.
So,
Wow.
that's about what I know. And like I say, Shelley and I will talk as we need and try to, answer as many questions as we can.
All right. Well, we really appreciate it. As we've seen, we had some written information from just a day or so ago, and Daryl showed up with even fresher information. So we're going to do our best and continue to try to partner with the staff at Philmont to get the best, most thorough information out to the group that we can.
Right. And Shelley said a lot of the stuff is they're digging into the weeds like we are too, and these questions are going to be officially answered, if you will, probably within the next week or two.
Yeah.
And emails will be going out to crew advisors.
Good. Well, we'll look forward to those. Thank you so much for the update, Daryl. Much
No problem.
appreciated.
I'll hang around for a while.
Sure. Oh, and I didn't mean to cover everyone's faces up here, but it's a long comment. Talk to me about water. We'll be in the North Country. Are there ample opportunities to refill at streams? Does Philmont require use of MicroPure? So really what this is getting at is I think the main questions are in terms of water treatment methods. I got to be honest here. I got some really strong opinions on stuff, but you guys in one of our prior discussions got me thinking, I've been carrying a gravity filter for a while. First trek I had a pump filter. Second trek I had a gravity filter. Planning on taking the gravity filter this time because of what Stephen mentioned here, that there is a weight on MicroPure. You guys you got me about convinced that maybe we don't need to take the filter. So what say you to everyone else? What do you do and what do you recommend?
Okay, here I go. I do not take a filter. I do MicroPure, 30 minutes and you're good to go.
I'm in the MicroPure camp. 4 hours is really the extreme for very very polluted water and extremely cold, almost freezing. That's not the water you're going to find at Philmont. It's going to be cold, yes, but typically a half hour to an hour is all you need to make the MicroPure work.
Yep.
Agreed.
Half an hour
Team
and you're good to go.
MicroPure, 30
Team
minutes.
MicroPure, 30 minutes, you're good to go.
I'm kind of excited because I may not have to carry these big water filters this year.
No,
you guys
have
about
to,
got me convinced.
Jeff, you have to carry yours anyways.
Just for the heck of it. I took
Is it in
a
the shape of
filter
a
on our
chair,
truck.
maybe?
Yeah. Can you sit on it also, and then it can kill two birds with one stone?
What I was afraid of is that everyone would insist that the symbol to spot each other would be like a little camp chair patch or something.
I mean, there's nothing better than to sit down with a nice cold Nalgene with a MicroPure tablet already purified, sitting in your chair with your boots on.
Right.
Yeah. On your bear canister, right?
I had to do it, Jeff.
Well, the people want to know: are you team chair or team no chair, Daryl?
I'm a chairman. I'm willing to carry the 18 ounces. If I get down on the ground, you need a crane to come in and get me up. Oh, by the way, there was a question earlier of somebody about Tyvek. Take an 18-inch square of Tyvek and use it for a sit-upon. Put it on a log or whatever, because even though that log looks dry, you sit down and your shorts are going to wick that water right out of that log.
Yeah. And I use a sit pad instead of a chair, and it accomplishes the same thing, giving a little barrier so you don't sit in mud or dirt or whatever, but then it gives a little bit of padding. So that's another option for you. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I missed any other questions. Did you guys have any, Scott and Sal, that I missed in the queue or hadn't got to yet?
Well, also a follow-up, and Andy, I think you answered this in the comments about plenty of water in the North Country. We had some stretches in the North Country where we're short on water, so I guess it does vary a little bit.
Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. I don't think it's, he's talking, Stephen, you mentioned about, Middle Tennessee, and I was just down in the Great Smoky Mountains just a couple weeks ago, and I could not go 20 feet without another stream crossing. Philmont will not be like that typically, especially our experience in the North Country. Occasionally, we came across a couple, but water was not flowing abundantly. There was a little bit here and there. We typically loaded up at water stops, and the goal was, we know where the next water stop is for sure. It's the next staffed camp. So, leaving Philmont property and heading, we knew how many miles we had until the next one. And we specifically went a little bit off route and didn't take the shortest so that we could hit another staffed camp, because we knew they'd have a water buffalo there. And sure enough, they did. Mm-hmm. So we filled up our all of our stuff at that camp and then headed on. So we didn't even have to purify there, because it was, they informed us it had already been treated. So it was potable water, just take it and go. We brought some filters and actually did use them in the North Country. That's the only place that it even came up. Never had a chance on Philmont proper to ever need it. There was always ample water, whether it's water buffaloes or wells or whatnot. But when we got into the North Country, there was a situation up at Ring Place where they were completely out of water, and they were having a hard time getting a new water buffalo routed up. So they told us about where an old well was a mile or so south of camp, that if we wanted to hike down and fill up our stuff there, we could. Or there was a stream to the north of camp that if we wanted to go and just, take it right out of the stream. So we did it. And because some of the boys were pretty low, we busted out the filter and filtered, 3 or 4 liters of water pretty quickly. And while some of the others were just doing the micro pure, and, there would be plenty enough. So whoever needed a drink right now, we could do that. And then the rest just did the micro pure. But, 95% of the time, the micro pure was more than adequate. Having somebody on the crew with the filter, they weigh about 2 ounces, 3 ounces. So for an entire crew, having some kind of a backup like that, I don't think that's out of the question, in my opinion.
So you are still on Team Water Filter then?
I am, just because I'm not going to.
You don't have to give a butt. Team Water Filter. I'm
not going to bring the big pump filter, the heat.
Yeah.
But if you look at a Sawyer Squeeze, or if you look at Catadine Be Free, those are probably the 2 most popular ones in the market today. Pick up one of those and know how to use them, and have one of those on in your crew gear. You're talking about a 2 to 3 ounce weight penalty total. Pretty reasonable, and you can filter enough water for a crew relatively quickly. So
yeah, it's a good point. I Okay, good. All right, we've been going an hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to ask everyone to think about, is there anything else you want to talk about right now? Any other topics we want to cover?
Jeff,
Yes.
Jeff Wilson had a question about taking simple gaiters for their face coverings. But he says now Philmont says that's it right there.
Oh,
according
that's right.
According to the latest off of Philmont's website on their COVID update, is multi-layered, tight-fitting, reusable covering, nose, and mask. If I remember right from the Philmont official one they had last month on COVID, they were going to issue everybody a Philmont face mask that they want you to wear. So I think everybody's going to get a face mask at Philmont that they want you to wear.
Interesting. I had not heard that. So that's great information.
Well, that's just one, right? That's not going to last them the whole time.
Well, you only have to wear it at base camp. Once you leave base camp, you're done.
True.
So you have to wear their face mask in base camp or where you need it.
Or in the backcountry if you interface with another crew or staff.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm scared that they're going to say we have to wear them more often, but we shall see. I don't want to panic anyone. Let's see. I'm an old Team Boots guy.
But if I remember right, Philmont is supposed to be giving out sometime this week or next week. I think Daryl said another update to all the crew leaders. So look for your emails. I'm sure it's going to be changing daily.
Now, the good thing with all of this is I've heard bears have to socially distance too, so they should stay out of camp.
We got mini bears.
6 feet.
Yeah.
Joshua just put a question about Jeff. Laundry. You got that one, Daryl?
On laundry facilities, as long as the facility will be there, but from what I understand, there will be a limit to the number of people within the building.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what that number is.
Well, usually when I do my laundry, I leave. You can put it in and walk out and come back in for 20 minutes and move it to the dryer.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that'll work. People can, get in, do what they need, get out, let the next people in. That'll be good. Because I took advantage of that on both ends of the last trek.
And
trust me, I do.
That brings me back, Jeff, or look, guys, to another point that was made. As the cohort moves around base camp, they are preferring at this point, it may change, there's a discussion, but at this point, they want the cohort to move as a cohort, not 3 people deciding they're going to the trading post and 3 people decide they're going to the snack bar, and the other 3 or 4 of the crew are still back at their tents. At this point, it may change. I was informed there was a lot of discussion about that, but right now they want everybody moving as a group, as a cohort. You may stand outside the trading post while 3 people go in, but you need to move around the base camp as a cohort.
Hey, Daryl, last month Philmont had that big 72-page document. They took that thing down. Are they rewriting it? You know of?
Say that again, Sal.
Last week or last month, they had that big 72-page cover, whether it was red, green, and yellow status.
Yeah.
Are they rewriting that or going back over it? Because I can't find it anymore.
They are not rewriting it. They are tweaking and adding to it, but it's not going to be a general rewrite. There will be revisions, and as somebody mentioned earlier, watch the every 2-week update.
Okay. Because I've got
that document also doesn't cover turquoise level or whatever level they want to go to above green.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, everyone, keep your fingers crossed. It looks like the the vibe I'm getting from folks at the ranch is that the ability to trek this summer is more tenuous than a lot of us have assumed. So let's keep our fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly. We have, the first few weeks of cruise out there goes well, doesn't have any issues, reassures everyone involved, yes, we're okay to continue, and then everyone has a great summer. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. We're to continue doing everything we can to get all the right information and share it with the right people. And, there's only so much we can do to take the load off of our friends there at the ranch that are working themselves into the ground trying to get all this stuff sorted and get all the information out. So we're to continue to try to help them disseminate that information. But all right, I think we're going to do final call here and say we're pretty much done with questions. We had one in the private chat here, which is just the panelists. Is this the final one? Are we doing one in June? It's a good question. First, we can keep doing, I think it'd be kind of neat, honestly, even if it's a more informal chat that on the first Tuesday of each month that we hop on, and maybe people who have been give some feedback, share some pictures, whatever, from recent treks, give any updates on things that have happened. I'm game for doing that if anyone else is interested. I'm thinking maybe we just keep doing this until all the treks are done, and maybe even a month after that to celebrate everyone who had a good summer out there. But, it's up to you guys. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see us continue that. And obviously, panelists, if you have an interest in that, then let me know, and we'll talk about making that happen. Thank you all for advising us and keeping us updated. I got to tell you, I'm blown away at the panel that we've been able to put together here. Thank you so much. All these people just volunteered like an hour and a half of their time to come sit and answer questions. And it's because they're great people. They care about everyone. They care about the ranch. And I can't thank them enough for being a part of this. Thank you to all the people out there in the Facebook group for participating as well. Great questions, great interaction in the group. And I think with that, I'll have 3 people who are out there on staff and can tell us what's happening. Good. So Daryl's going to keep us updated as well. That's awesome. Let's see. Next time, I want to see Team Baldy versus Team Tooth. Oh, my goodness. We got too many things that we're arguing about already, playfully or not. So I think
if you're doing the north to south trek, can you be on Team Baldy and Team Tooth?
That's what I'm thinking. Definitely. Yeah. And, some of those other peaks are going to start. We're going to get teams for those as well. I mean, was it Phillips, I think, that my crew's going to go over? Maybe it's Team Phillips now. We'll see. All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much.